When you are watching this video, I want you to watch it in terms of concepts rather than techniques. For example, notice as my opponent is trying to strangle me from the back, I always grab on the thumb line. I always want to prevent Tyson's risk of strangulation to me. Even when I bring my knees up to my face, I'm always trying to get my shoulders, head, or hips to the ground or flat to the ground. Either 2 out of the 3 or 1 out of the 3 or 3 out of the 3. As I start to spin around, he comes up and he puts a lot of pressure on my head, the end of the lever. Where the head goes, the body must follow. As he puts me back into his back control or his offensive cycle, I'm keen onto it. I try to get to my side, but he sucks me back in. I go straight back into defending the thumb line, right, to prevent strangulations. And I'm most likely going to turn into him and force him to play close guard with me. Notice from here, I'm still getting my shoulders and my hips and my head to the mat. As I turn into close guard, I'm going to start standing up because the only optimal way of breaking close guard and no-gi is to stand up. From here, I force him to let go and transition to something else. Notice as I transition, I always grab at the end of the lever. You can apply grabbing at the end of the lever, the thumb line, the toe line, the back of the head, right, to anything you do in jiu-jitsu or in wrestling. After a brief break, we go back into it. My left hand's going to grab the side of the knee. My right hand's going to grab the end of the lever, and I'm going to step over my opponent's legs. From here, notice as I put my left foot on my opponent's foot, pinning his foot to the mat, forcing him to play half guard on me, and I squeeze my thighs on his shin. Cough, cough, he's playing off his side because he has to. Tries to destabilize me, I bring his lever to the end of the ground, and I get turtle again. FYI, we're playing a passing game here, so I'm only trying to get chest to chest or chest to back. But it pins the foot to the ground, right? Look at my left foot. As he tries to invert, I go back into it. I try to put him back onto his offensive cycle, make him carry my weight with some surfing or camping. Notice as my opponent is always playing off his side, right? His bottom leg is the key leg that allows him to generate force. His top leg can be used as a frame on my body, but his bottom leg is what's going to help him actually shrimp and escape. I know this, so I'm always trying to prevent that bottom leg from being able to generate any kind of kinetic energy, and it's very hard to do so sometimes against a higher level resisting opponent. We're back in half guard. He's on his side. His right hand is grabbing the end of the lever. Tries to destabilize me. I grab his end of the lever, right? And I'm always trying to work back into pinning his bottom leg to the mat. Even my left hand is grabbing the end of the lever on his right wrist. Now he's grabbing my left wrist. He's on his side once again. Now all of you, I could explain this in terms of techniques, but I think it will be more beneficial for you to hear it in terms of concepts. If you have any questions about this, just message me on Instagram and we can chat about how we can improve going into the future. I'm here for you guys and I'm trying to accelerate your learning, so just let me know if there's anything about this video that you do not like, or if you have a suggestion that would help you and everybody else learn faster. For this back take sequence, understand diagonal control. I'm always controlling one shoulder or one hip on the opposite side of the body. In this case, my right leg and my left leg control his right hip, and my arms control his left shoulder. Notice as my arms create a diagonal line, because this is called diagonal control. It doesn't matter what leg or arm configurations we use as long as we adhere to the principles of diagonal control. That's what you need to take all backs from anywhere. You need to understand the concept of diagonal control. Just a reminder, we're about to enter into a hip split sequence because anytime we can split legs with our arm, we can enter into the hip split. And notice how my right arm is basically an underhook. You want to try to become a master at underhooks from everywhere. Now we move on to the next one. So from here, notice as my opponent starts to sweep me, my underhook is ready, and I'm always anticipating the ability to come into dogfight. My legs are wrapped around my opponent's ankle right now, fighting at end of levers, fighting at the feet in the back of the knees. I have a high underhook, but I can always switch my underhook down the body to a low underhook like I do here. Whenever we can, we want to work on the meta skill of fighting at the back of the knee and the feet, as well as always obtaining underhooks from everywhere. Now, as Tyson's going into his front headlock series, I try to go for a double, but that's not working, so I switch my arms to his hips, and I start extending him out in order to prevent the headlock from coming on. From here, as I start to pin feet and knees, notice as Tyson wants to force me into bringing my knees together so he can attack my feet and knees. But I know what he's doing, so when I step out, I notice he drops his leg and allows me to enter into an inside Senkaku series. Leg locks can be boiled down into two main concepts. We get inside positioning. Notice as my legs are in between my opponent's legs, and we get the knee line. Notice as my legs are above my opponent's legs, or above his knee, specifically on his upper thigh. That's called capturing the knee line. Remember, inside position, right? Look at my legs and capture the knee line. Look at how my legs are above his knee. I don't really care if you can capture the heel yet. If you don't understand those two concepts, you'll never get good at any kind of leg lock. We need to build the skill of getting inside positioning with our legs and then maintaining the knee line in that order. Once you get a bit more advanced, you can start switching the order up. Notice as Tyson's hand fighting, because if I can't dig for the heel because he's pulling my arms, it becomes much easier for him, or rather he buys himself some time. Notice as he spins and tries to free his knee line. Look, his knee line's free, but I step back in, and then as he goes upper body, I start attacking upper body as well. Remember, when our opponent fights us on the lower body, his upper body is there for exposure. As we fight the upper body, our opponent leaves his lower body open for any kind of threat. It is very hard for people to defend and attack on two different fronts. I transitioned right into my Inside Senkaku series again because he's not paying attention, or rather, he can't fight me on two different fronts. Notice from here, Tyson's main objective is to free his knee line, but check it out. I always try to pin feet and knees no matter what he does. Even though he knows the hip split is coming because he lets me split his legs, but he knows it's coming, I'm always grabbing his left foot with my hands and my feet. My right hand is grabbing his knee to prevent him from moving too much. As the hip split fails, I just enter right back into a leg entanglement. Notice as my legs are above his knee line, we have to capture the knee line and get inside positioning. Now we're entering into a leg lock shootout where me and Tyson are both trying to fight the hands, but also defend the knee line. We want to free our knee lines. That's basically all we're trying to do, and obviously we're trying to hide the heel too, but that may be a bit more advanced. Once again, notice at any point when our opponent gives us inside positioning between his legs and lowers his knee, it allows us to drop in and backstep into inside Senkaku or any kind of leg entanglement, because all we need to enter is inside positioning and battling and getting the knee line. Now from here, we're entering into a leg lock shootout again, and this is one I actually end up losing. Here's Tyson going for his counter leg lock, capturing my knee line again, throwing his right leg over to secure that knee line, and eventually get my heel, expose it, and get me with a heel hook. Now once again, I know I can explain this in terms of technique or step-by-step processes, but I'd rather not because I don't know how beneficial that will be to you all. Once again, we're going back into knees and feet, trying to pin them from top position, trying to make our opponent carry our body weight. He's on his side because he has to get on his side to defend or to put me into an offensive cycle. Notice as he's grabbing at the end of the lever and the knee line. From here, I step over, but he holds on to that foot, right? So even if you can't completely stop your opponent by attacking the back of the knee and the feet, right? See how he's attacking the back of the knee with his forearm? He can still slow me down and prevent me from being able to do what I want. From here, he's hugging on to my left Achilles. He's always focusing on making me drag him and carry his weight. So now we have to play, and I play at end of levers too, right? Look at my right arm. I'm pulling the toes towards the ass. From here, I'm trying to work this new thing called wrist pins, where I pin the wrist either to the mat or to my opponent's hips. Notice as my legs have inside positioning. Look at my feet. They have inside positioning as I fight the hands. From here, I'm trying to lock up the shoulder line by locking up the wrists and the elbows. But notice as my feet always maintain inside positioning. As my opponent starts to switch, I try to enter into my quarter guard series, and I probably could have taken his back from here. But as he defends, I come up for an underhook again, grab at the end of the lever. Look at as I'm grabbing his left Achilles, or his left toes in this case more specifically. And I'm forcing my opponent to play dogfight with me. As he comes back down for a headlock, I take top position, get my 2 points. And as he sweeps me over, we're into an underhook on the other side. Left hand post on his hip to prevent or stop or nullify or slow down the front headlock. And from here, right, he pulls me back down, but I'm pinning his feet to the mat with my right knee. He goes in for his front headlock series again in order to sweep me instead of submitting, because I think it would be very hard for him to submit from here. And as he starts to sweep me, look as I go into another underhook, and I force him once again to play dogfight. Because I have his knees and his feet locked up, it's very hard for him to do anything else but turn into me, but I know he's doing so I force him to wrestle and stand up. Hey y'all, hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the conceptual breakdown. But if you want something more technical, please just comment below or message me on Instagram. And just remember, for leg locks, inside positioning, knee line concept. For everything else, get an underhook from anywhere and everywhere you can. Always attack at the back of the knees and the feet if it's possible. Always defend and attack at end of levers, no matter what body alignment or guard, top or bottom you are playing. And just remember, if you do like this video, please like and subscribe, share it with your friends, and until next time, I will see you later.